everyone? This is David Stark, aka D Money, and I'm very excited today because we're coming at you with an interview with Cleopatra Coleman, who plays Sara in The Right One. We're going to talk to Cleopatra in just a second, but first, let's check out the trailer. And while you're watching, if you can like and subscribe to this channel, that would be fantastic. It helps me out a lot. Thank you.
Hi. Sara, I am expecting to see some pages by the end of the week. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I know. I am just working here.
Are you fake typing?
No.
What about right now? What if we just lived right now?
Who is this guy?
I don't know. Looks like Austin Powers. Up to the chimney sweep. Come on.
Excuse me. Weren't you at the Wanky Gallery in Fremont?
I truly think you have me mistaken for somebody else.
Who the hell are you? He's not one person. He's like many different people.
What is that?
He is the company's top sales performer for 3 straight years.
That. You can tell that he's breaking about 8 different dress code policies.
You know I am a good friend, and friends tell each other the truth even when it sucks.
Yeah, well, this lunch sucks. The food is very good, but
The food is very
this
good.
sucks.
Hey, Cleopatra.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great.
I dressed up as D Money today for this interview, so I'm ready to go. Got my sleeves and everything.
Fantastic.
I'm very excited to talk to you today. So this is Cleopatra Coleman. She plays Sara in The Right One. You were actually responsible for a couple of my favorite indie films last year, James It versus His Future Self and The Argument. So I'm very excited to talk to you about this new film. Those are both great, but this new film is also very entertaining.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So the first, question. This is such a, like a interesting, romantic comedy that kind of bucks a couple trends. How did you find this? How did this kind of come across your board, and what drew you to this film?
It is unique, isn't it? And that's exactly why I signed up for it. It's rare that you see a rom-com that talks about mental health and also ticks all those boxes of being entertaining and making you feel good at the same time. This movie sort of came into my inbox and just appeared, as they do. I think like 2 weeks before we started shooting, so it was kind of a bit of a whirlwind, and I was lucky enough to be able to say yes. I threw myself into it, and we had such a great time making it.
I can imagine it was fun and maybe a little difficult to stay serious because, Nick's character just goes through all of these just amazing, unique personas, throughout the film. I guess, what was it like working with that? And I guess I'm kind of curious, how was he off the camera? Did he stay in, was he method acting? Was he staying in the personas? Did you kind of did you not expect, not know who you were going to talk to each day, or was he just Nick off the camera?
Well, it was never boring, I'll tell you that much. I have a lot of practice. Trying to not laugh from this show I did, The Last Man on Earth, for 4 years with some of the funniest people in the world. And I often fail, but I think that's a good sign. And Nick was great. Nick, definitely, he wasn't method. He would slip in and out of his, as soon as they call action, he'd become the character. And then when they call cut, it'd be Nick again. So yeah, but it was never boring. It was, you just never know who was going to be joining you on set that day.
Yeah, and I imagine you're going to have different co-stars throughout the day, right? He'll be G Money, he'll be
which one
the
is
cowboy singer. Yeah, you just never know. What did you do to prepare for this? I kind of, as I was watching, I was like, this must be what it's going to be like when quarantine's up, because when your agent was describing you, she's like sweatpants and meal delivery service boxes. I was kind of looking around oh, that sounds pretty familiar right now. And then all of a sudden,
well, what's funny is we shot that before COVID. It was a different world. We didn't know what was coming, and yet it was kind of on topic. How did we know that it was going to be like that for everyone? And pretending to type, pretending to work, and all that stuff. Yeah, a little look into the future there. But yeah, it was really, really fun. I'm sorry, I forgot what the question was.
It's fine. It was a bad question. But yeah, I was kind of thinking, once quarantine's up, your character kind of goes through all these fun experiences. I was like, that is what it's going to be like. So hopefully this film can let people kind of remember what it was like to go outside and see people. I loved all the crazy events you went to. I guess like you said, it was filmed in a different time. When was this filmed, and what was the journey to get this made?
This was filmed, I think, around 2 years ago, in Vancouver, BC, in Canada. And yeah, I signed on like 2 weeks before we started shooting. So
Oh wow.
I surrendered myself to the situation and just kind of jumped in head first, and sort of tried to create a really zany, fun character. I mean, it was just in the script for me. When I read it, I just found everything that happened to Sara to be really funny. So that's just how I ended up portraying it. And she's sort of like my take on a cross between Elaine Benners and Annie Hall, something like that. And Ken was just such a wonderful collaborator. He really allowed me to just sort of do whatever I wanted, which is so rare and so much fun to be trusted that much. So yeah, it was a blast.
And I liked your character a lot because she, this is a rom-com. I guess maybe this is not that uncommon, but it felt a little uncommon for a rom-com where your character is the one pursuing, Godfrey, who's a little, he's unsure what he wants. And I felt like that was a nice role for us. So it was fun to see your character kind of be the, not aggressive is the wrong word, but be the driven one to like,
Sure.
make this happen.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a big reason why I signed on, is because it's really different. Even just in casting me as the female lead, I'd never seen a rom-com where there was someone who looked like me as the lead. And I grew up watching rom-coms like in the 90s when they were so prevalent, and I love them. But I'd never seen myself in them. And I was like, wow, what a cool opportunity. I guess I'd hoped it would come along at some point, and then to see it in my inbox, I was like, this might be the right one. So,
Exactly. Shameless perfect plug. And so your and Nick's chemistry was fun, but I really liked your and Iliza's chemistry on screen. It was a really fun dynamic to see the two of you kind of interact, and she just said some amazingly funny and very blunt things to you. Had you ever worked with her before, and what did you all do to kind of establish this fun screen relationship?
Yeah, I was a fan of hers. I was a fan of Iliza's before she signed on to the film. I really liked her stand-up and all her observations about relationships, and she's really, really, really funny. I guess we're just lucky that we had chemistry, because a lot of the time when you're making, especially an independent film like this one was, you don't have that much time. You fly into town, you maybe get to have one coffee with the person you're going to work with, if that, and then you just hope that the chemistry's there. And luckily for Iliza and I, we just got along really, really well. And as soon as we became our characters, it just started happening, and she was really easy to work with.
Yeah, it seems like it would just be a fun movie all around. Like, not only do you have a good cast, but you have all these really crazy situations. I mean, the rave was, I think one of my favorite scenes in there was just remembering that you can go and see people and all congregate and dance and just
Remember
kind of
that?
I know. No, I honestly don't.
Barely, yeah.
I was a pretty boring person before quarantine. I'm wondering if after quarantine I might be a little more fun, but we'll see. We'll find out whenever it ends. So most of the characters were kind of Nick's personas, but you had a chance to kind of create your own persona as well. One thing I want to know, there is a point in the film when you sing a song. Was that you singing? Was that your vocal performance?
That was me singing. Yeah, I actually sing 2 songs in the film, and that was me. We spent a little time recording it. Song got real stuck in my head. I tell you, that's a real catchy song. If I'm not even going to mention the song, because then I'll be stuck in my head.
Just a cappella sing it right now. It's fine.
No, it'll be stuck in my head for the next 2 weeks. But yeah, that was me singing. Yeah.
And another question I had is, a film like this where you've got kind of so many different people coming in, and it's such like a kind of a frantic comedic style throughout. How much of it was scripted? How much of it was improvised? Was it kind of a middle ground? Because it seems like, with this cast and kind of these situations, you could have a lot of really funny takes, that would just kind of go out on tangents and work perfectly. So.
Yeah, that's exactly how I describe it. Like Ken created a really great blueprint. There was a really, really great script there. And then he created a free situation in which he trusted us very much. And, you know, he didn't micromanage too much. I think when you're really excited about who you cast in your film, you can just sort of let them make your decision the right decision, you know, and that's exactly what Ken did. And we were able to play around so much. And some of my favorite things came out of the improvisational parts of it, so it was cool.
Yeah, I imagine. And then again, the thing you mentioned about trying to stay serious in a very funny situation, I imagine that was difficult because there must have been a
Biting
lot
your
of
cheeks,
what?
pinching yourself, yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait to see the bloopers because I imagine they're going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
So now I know we have a limited time, so I'd like to move. I call it the lightning round. It's just kind of short questions about the film. I want to see how, your Cleopatra's experiences kind of map onto some of the things that happened in the characters. You are free. You can feel free not to answer. I won't be offended, but I try to make them very answerable questions.
Okay.
So the first question is: there's a very prominent scene at an art show. Have you been to an art show, and what was the last one you went to?
Oh, I love art shows. I love going to galleries. When was the last time? I don't know. Oh, I actually was in Bulgaria a couple of months ago shooting a movie.
Oh, nice.
And I got to see some ancient ruins. Not quite an art show, but interesting to me.
Yeah, no, that sounds great, and that sounds perfect for this time. Outside, plenty of distance, I assume.
Yeah.
One of the people that you meet is a crafty person that makes some very interesting setup, steampunk setups with his hands. What's the most, involved thing that you have crafted with your own hands?
Oh, I like making homemade cards. Like if it's my dad's birthday or someone's birthday, like I like to do watercolors. I like to paint. I draw a lot.
That sounds very therapeutic and actually perfect for this time right now.
Yes.
Have you ever sang on stage before this movie?
I have a background in dance. So I did a little musical theater, and actually I'm a singer-songwriter now. It's one of my quarantine things that came out. I've been writing songs for years, but I think for a lot of us artists that have multiple things, that some things are on the back burner because you're so busy, and quarantine really allowed us to finally get to those things on our list. So I started releasing music. So hopefully more live singing to come.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is a great use of quarantine time. It sounds like you're, not that anyone's perfectly situated, but it sounds like you have a really great kind of interest set to weather this, painting and singing and releasing those. That sounds like a really productive use of your time.
Yeah, I do what I can. It's I have to say, not very different to my day-to-day life anyway without quarantine.
Well, then it sounds like a nice, it sounds like you're dealing with it well then.
We can.
Have you ever DJ'd?
I have, actually.
Oh.
I used to DJ. Yeah, I'm sort of one of those jack of all trades people. When I first moved to LA, I started DJing. I played a DJ in one of the Step Up movies, Step Up Revolution. I think it was my first big American film. And I got to learn a little bit how to DJ to play the character. And then I was like, this is kind of cool. I had a lot of friends that were DJs, and I decided to start DJing. So I used to do it.
Sounds like maybe you should have been Godfrey. It's kind of
right?
Based on your experiences. What is the craziest mask you've ever worn?
Ooh, craziest mask I've ever worn. Oh, I don't know how I got this. You know how you have these things in your house that you're like, how did this get in my house? I have this Samuel L. Jackson mask.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was like scary. It was like what is it? Michael Myers from Halloween, but Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay.
Yeah, so like really, really creepy and unnerving, and I would
like fake enough that it scares you.
yeah.
I had an Arnold Schwarzenegger mask for a Halloween costume one year, and my wife did the same thing. She's like, "Do not ever wear that mask outside of Halloween." What is the craziest thing you've done with your hair?
I shaved my head.
For was that James versus Future Self? Is that?
No, I did a film before that called In the Shadow of the Moon. Was that before that? I don't know. But I actually shaved my head for myself.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the craziest thing I've ever done with my hair. As an actress, you tend to want to, you're scared to dye it. You're scared to really do anything too drastic that changes your look. But I just felt like I needed to do it, so I did.
That's perfect. That's yeah. Just push yourself and see what happens. It
Sometimes
seems
we
like
gotta
everything's
say
working
it.
out.
Yeah.
So what do you do during me time? And it sounds like you paint, release music. It sounds like you're very, very productive during me time. Is there anything that you do specifically to kind of relax or, kind of focus yourself?
Yeah, I like to watercolor. I like to write songs. I write screenplays as well. I like to hang out with my dog. And in quarantine, actually, when I was in Bulgaria shooting, I was working with Lizzie Kaplan, and she was like, I would love it if you would start watching The Real Housewives of New York, because I had never watched it. These shows have been going on for like 10 years now, and I gave it a go, and I got to say, I'm hooked. I'm now watching the Beverly Hills one.
And there's so many that you can just
so
travel
many.
around. Yeah, you
I
can
know,
go to
I'm
all different
stoked.
places.
I'm stoked.
So there's one scene where you essentially just kind of ghost a date. Have you ever done that for a date that either wasn't going well or just something else came up?
Oh, the whole like pretending there's an emergency thing.
Well, the way that I think you just kind of you met someone else and then decided that would be a more fun experience.
Don't think I've ever done that. Oh my gosh, if I have, I'm so sorry. No, I don't think I've ever done that. I don't think so. Not yet, anyway.
Yeah. Do you have a vision board?
I don't have like a physical board, but I have one in my phone. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I have a list.
I imagine your list is more extensive than Sarah's was.
Yeah, hers was just a bowl of ice cream. Although, who can complain? That's a pretty good goal.
That's a good. I mean, that's my goal for today. So let's hope I make it there. We'll see. And so, do you have like a? And this is probably a bad question for an actor because I think the answer is probably yes. Do you have like an alternate personality or like a stage persona that you can kind of like that you get into to give yourself confidence when you're out performing? And now that I ask it, it's like well, that's every day that I'm doing shooting, but just out of curiosity, maybe a recurring one.
Yeah, I think the thing about certain actors like myself is that it's not that I'm particularly confident, it's that I'm brave. I think and then you just get used to it. I love telling stories. I love doing what I do. And a lot of the inspiration for Godfrey that Ken Mock drew was from people like Peter Sellers, who, could play all of these different characters, but essentially was very uncomfortable being himself. I think as you get older, you just get more and more comfortable. So I don't really have to pretend to be someone else to do things like this. Like, I feel like I can just sort of be myself. But it definitely helps to sort of like put on a little armor, like something, maybe just listening to a song or like getting excited.
Yeah, no, definitely. I've as I wear my tattoo sleeves, it helps sometimes I'm interviewing to have like a persona, because then you can kind of be a little more free and be a little more
or like for me, I put on some lipstick and I'm like, all right, cool, here we go.
This is done up, Cleopatra.
Something. It's not me in sweatpants. Like, I don't look like this usually. This is
well, spoiler, I'm in sweatpants, so
I respect that.
Well, it's who's gonna see me, right?
No.
So the movie comes out February 5th digitally and February 9th on physical media. I imagine you're going to be promoting this film for until the release. But after that, what's next for you? What do you have on the horizon? Either films, art, music, maybe skydiving. I don't know. What it sounds like you have a very busy, fun life. So.
I'm scared of heights, so I'm never going to be skydiving ever. I just released my debut single, After Midnight. It's on Spotify. And right now I'm shooting a mini series called Dope Sick with Michael Keaton and Caitlin Dever and Will Poulter and Rosario Dawson, and Barry Levinson is directing, and it's such an honor to be a part of it. Danny Strong created it, and it's a true American story that's really, really important right now. And I have a movie called Cobweb coming out with Lizzie Kaplan and Anthony Starr. I think later in the year, fingers crossed. And we'll see what else. Yeah.
Well, that is fantastic news. It sounds like you're being very productive during quarantine, which is great to hear. And I'm happy because I love your movies, so I can't wait to see what's next.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was Cleopatra Coleman from The Right One. The Right One is coming to digital on February 5th and physical on February 9th. So you can rent it, buy it, check it out. It's a very funny film with a lot of characters, including someone that's close to my heart, G Money. If you like this interview, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot and make sure all of my new interviews go straight to you. And as always, please go to watchyourpass.com for all your movie reviews, interviews, and recommendations. Thank you.